This is Earth, home to every animal you can think of, from the smallest ant to the largest blue whale. But Earth is under threat, and that needs to change. But how? Let's find out. Earth is a watery rock pelting through space at 67,000 miles per hour. This pristine place is slowly being destroyed though. At every inch of the world's surface, people have an impact. From the food we eat to the way we move about, we're destroying the place. Our weapon is called pollution. Pollution comes in many different forms. For example, plastic and water pollution are two very environmentally damaging forms of pollution, but they deserve their own video. The type of pollution we're going to be focusing on today is air pollution, an extremely serious form of pollution and one that threatens all life on this planet. Greenhouse gases are the convicts, responsible for the greenhouse effect, which in turn is responsible for the warming of Earth. This effect works similar to the way a greenhouse works. Heat from the sun enters the Earth's atmosphere around 8 minutes after leaving the sun. It then speeds down towards the Earth's surface. Some of that heat will be absorbed by things like rocks, but the majority will rebound back off the surface and into space. However, greenhouse gases act like a blanket over the Earth, stopping the heat from escaping, and instead it rebounds back to the Earth's surface, and the process is repeated over and over again. All this warming has started to cause some dangerous effects on the global climate. The Earth has warmed by a staggering 0.7 degrees Celsius. Now this might not sound like much, but it really is, and here are some of the things that temperature change could cause. As the temperature rises, ice in the poles begins to melt. This causes water that has been trapped in the ice caps for centuries and still should be to be released. And as we all know, in a bath, the more water you add, the higher the water level rises, and this causes a problem. Many cities, including Tokyo and New York, will become submerged underwater and cause millions of people to move and lose their jobs. And rising sea levels aren't the only problem with the rising temperature. Extreme weather is already becoming more frequent and dangerous, causing severe damage to buildings, and it's not just property being affected by extreme weather, animals are too. The solution to global warming isn't one that's easy, and it's the reason we still haven't fixed it yet. But in this section, we will go over some of the ways you as a person can prevent global warming at home. We'll cover more advanced things in another video. So here's 3 things you can do to stop climate change. Cycling and walking to places where you can, and not just using your car, is a great way to help stop climate change. Cars and transport account for 14% of emissions per economic sector. So the more you cut down on using your car and other people do the same, the less emissions we will be pumping out. Another large emitter of greenhouse gases, accounting for 25% of emissions, is electricity. Although we are now switching to more renewable sources such as wind and solar, 65% of electricity in the USA is still produced by non-renewable sources, excluding nuclear. The best way you can reduce your impact is to make sure you're not using electricity when you don't need it. This includes things like turning off the lights when you're not in the room and not leaving machines on standby, especially for long periods of time. Another large emitter of greenhouse gases is that from food production from animals. Cows are the main emitter in this sector, accounting for 9.4 of the 14.5 that domestic farm animals produce. Meat is a large part of the global emissions, and one that seems easy to solve but in reality is extremely hard. Some of the ways you can reduce your impact is by eating less meat. Some people might say to go vegan or vegetarian, but if you don't want to, just cutting down on the amount of meat you eat each week is a great way you can help in the fight against climate change. And finally, sharing this video with others is a great way you can help more people to learn about the threats of climate change and what they can do to solve it. The more that know, the better. So thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you next time. Goodbye!